Amara had been told she was beautiful long before she knew what the word meant. Aunties said it when they pinched her cheeks at family gatherings. Strangers said it in the market while her mother bargained for tomatoes. Boys said it in school corridors, their voices dripping with admiration and assumption. But no one ever said she was capable. "Ah, with this kind of beauty," her mother would sigh, half joking, half serious, "you will just marry a rich man and rest. No need to suffer the way I did." "You're not like your brother," her uncle would say. "All this book you're reading, what will you use it for? Just package yourself well. A big man will find you." Over time, the words built a cage she couldn't see, but could feel. The invisible bars were made of expectations, myths, and the quiet belief that hard work was for people less fortunate-looking. So Amara grew up with a strange mixture of pride and fear. Pride in the compliments. Fear that without a rich man she'd starve. She finished school with good grades but never applied for further studies. Whenever she thought about starting a business or learning a skill, a small voice whispered, "Why stress when you can just marry well?" By 24, she worked in a small boutique in town, arranging clothes, smiling at customers, and scrolling on her phone whenever business was slow. Online, she followed the lives of girls she called Instagram aunties, the ones who wore designer bags, flew business class, and wrote captions like "soft life" or "no life." Almost all of them, she noticed, had one thing in common: a rich man in the background. Sometimes a husband, sometimes a sponsor, but always a man. The day she met Chikuti, the billionaire, the story she'd grown up with seemed finally ready to come true. He walked into the boutique flanked by 2 assistants. The air changed. Staff straightened up. The manager rushed out from her office and nearly bowed. "Good afternoon, sir," she chirped. Amara smoothed her dress, suddenly aware of every strand of hair on her head. Chikuti was tall, in his late 30s, wearing a crisp white shirt and a watch that probably cost more than her entire life savings. He had the casual confidence of someone used to being the most powerful person in the room. His eyes drifted lazily over the clothes, then landed on Amara. "Good afternoon," he said, his voice smooth. "What's your name?" Amara," she replied. "You're very beautiful, Amara." He smiled. "Help me pick something for my younger sister. She's about your size." As they moved around the boutique, he asked her questions. Simple ones, but he listened, really listened. Where did she live? Did she like this job? What did she want for herself? That last question caught her off guard. "For myself," she echoed. "Yes," he said. "What do you want?" No one had ever asked her that in a way that suggested her answer mattered. She swallowed. I just want a comfortable life, sir. No stress." He chuckled. "Who doesn't?" Then he leaned closer. "Comfortable life is not hard, if you make the right choices." As he left, he handed her his card. "Call me," he said softly. "I'd like to take you out sometime." Her colleagues squealed the moment the door closed. "Ah, do you know who that is?" one whispered. "That's Chikuti Okafor. Billionaire. Construction, oil, real estate, everything." Another added, "My dear, if you miss this chance, you've missed heaven on earth." That night, Amara stared at his card for a long time, her heart racing. Billionaire. A real billionaire. Not the Instagram ones. A man everyone respected, with power, presence, and money that didn't end. She thought of her tiny room in her aunt's house, the faulty fan that squeaked all night, the rice and stew that always tasted slightly burnt. She thought of the customers who haggled over the price of a blouse as if they were bargaining for their souls. Then she thought, maybe this is it. My own rich man. They started seeing each other. First, dinner at a high-end restaurant where the bill could have paid her rent for a year. Then a trip to a resort. Then days when he'd send a driver with envelopes of cash and gifts. Phones, clothes, shoes. "You deserve the best," he would say. Amara floated. The voice in her head that had whispered wait for a rich man now screamed, "You've finally arrived. Don't lose him." Within 6 months he proposed. He did it in a quiet, controlled way. No flash mobs or fireworks. Just the two of them on the balcony of his mansion, overlooking a swimming pool that glittered under soft lighting. "I don't like wasting time," he said. "I know what I want. And I want you, Amara. Marry me. Come and enjoy your life properly." She didn't hesitate. Why would she? A billionaire husband meant the end of anxiety, of counting coins, of worrying about bills. It meant respect, security. It meant she could finally live like the girls on Instagram. They had a small but elegant wedding, attended by important-looking people in expensive outfits. Everyone told her she was lucky, blessed, highly favored. She smiled in every photo, her gown shimmering, her makeup flawless. But somewhere deep inside, beneath the layers of foundation and praise, a tiny part of her trembled, not in fear but in disbelief. So this is it, she thought. Just like that, I've gotten the life they promised. Without ever having to prove I can build anything myself. That quiet, doubtful voice was still forming its next question when the first sign appeared. A small crack in the pretty picture she was busy framing in her mind. It was on their honeymoon, over something stupid. But it left a mark she couldn't quite name. And it was only the beginning. Their honeymoon was in Dubai, in a hotel so tall it seemed to scrape the sky. Amara walked through gleaming halls, marble floors reflecting chandeliers like captured stars. She took pictures in every corner, by the pool at the spa, inside the elevator with its glass walls and stunning view. Soft life, she whispered to herself, updating her status, from grass to grace. On the third day it happened. They were getting dressed for dinner. Amara, excited, had spent extra time on her makeup and outfit, a sleek red dress she'd bought specifically for this trip. She'd seen something similar on a celebrity she followed. It hugged her curves in all the right places. She stepped out of the bathroom, did a little twirl and smiled. "How do I look?" Chikwudi was adjusting his cufflinks in the mirror. He glanced at her once, and his face hardened. "What are you wearing?" His voice was flat. She laughed lightly, assuming he was teasing. "You don't like it. I thought. I asked you a question," he said, turning fully now. The room seemed to shrink. "It's just a dress," she said, a nervous smile forming. "Is it too much?" "Too much," he repeated, walking toward her. "Do you want every man in that restaurant to see your body? Is that what you came here for?" Her smile died. "No, I thought you'd like it. It's elegant," he scoffed. "Elegant? Amara, you're my wife now, not some girl on the streets. Go and change." Her throat tightened. "But..." His hand slammed against the wardrobe door beside her, the noise making her jump. "I said go and change." She froze, her heart pounding. It wasn't just his words. It was the way his eyes looked at her, cold, sharp, like she was an object displeasing him. "Okay," she whispered. She went back to the bathroom, closed the door, and stared at herself in the mirror. The girl who looked back at her didn't seem like a wife in a happy honeymoon. She seemed like a child who'd been scolded. Maybe he's just protective, she thought, forcing herself to breathe. He loves me. He's just traditional. It's not a big deal. She changed into a more conservative dress. All through dinner, he smiled and acted normal, charming even. To anyone watching, they were the perfect couple. Only Amara knew that beneath the table, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. That was the first crack. The others came quickly. At home, he began to comment on everything. How she sat, what she watched, who she talked to. "Why are you always on the phone? What are you discussing with your friend for 2 hours? Why did you like that guy's photo on Instagram? Why are you talking back? Do you know who you're talking to?" The first time he slapped her, it was over a joke she made about his belly. They'd been in the living room. She teased. All this money but no time to go to the gym. Oga billionaire, your stomach is graduating. Oh. It was meant to be playful. Everyone joked about such things. He didn't laugh. "What did you say?" he asked softly. She giggled, slightly uneasy. "I'm just playing now." His hand came swift and hard. The sound echoed through the room before the pain fully registered. Her cheek burned. She staggered back, eyes wide, hand flying to her face. "Chikwudi, you hit me." He glared at her. "Don't ever disrespect me like that again. Are you mad?" Tears gathered instantly, more from shock than pain. "I was joking. Sorry. I didn't mean." "You think because you're beautiful you can talk anyhow," he sneered. "Let this be the last time. Next time you'll really see madness." He left her there, shaking, cheeks wet. Later that night he slid into bed, wrapped his arm around her and murmured, "You know I love you, right? You just provoke me sometimes. Don't make me angry." She nodded silently, even though her spirit screamed. The cycle continued. Flowers the morning after calling her stupid. Jewelry after pushing her during an argument. Apologies delivered with expensive gifts instead of genuine remorse. The bruises started small, easily hidden with makeup and long sleeves. But the words burrowed deeper. "You're nothing without me. Which job can you even do? If I leave you, you'll go back to that your rat hole life. Nobody will believe you if you say I hit you. Do you know who I am?" In the quiet of the night, when he snored beside her, she scrolled through social media and saw other women posting variations of the same quote. "I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than be broke." She whispered it to herself once like a spell. "I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than work for a single day," she said, staring at the garage from the bedroom window, at the sleek cars lined up like trophies. The words comforted her. They made the pain feel rational, like a sacrifice, like the price you pay for the life you want. So she stayed. When her cousin called one day and said, "Amara, you sound different. Are you okay?" She laughed and changed the subject. When her friend joked, "Don't forget us now that you're a rich madamo," she said. "Forget what? I'm enjoying myself a beg." Even though her wrists still hurt from where he'd gripped her the night before. She became an expert in pretending. Until the night he almost killed her. The argument had started because she didn't hear him calling. She'd left her phone in the kitchen while she went to fold laundry. By the time she picked up, he was already furious. "So if I was dying somewhere now, you won't answer," he shouted when he got home. "What are you even doing in this house all day?" "I was just folding clothes," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. "Are you talking back to me?" He advanced toward her, eyes blazing. "No, I'm just explaining." She didn't see which hit came first, the slap, the punch, the shove. All she knew was pain. A sharp blow to her ribs, her head hitting the edge of the table, the taste of blood in her mouth. She heard a scream and didn't realize it was hers until it broke into sobs. At some point everything went dark. She woke up in a hospital bed, body aching everywhere. One eye was swollen. There was a bandage on her forehead, a dull throb in her side. A nurse hovered nearby. "Madam, you're awake," she said gently. "What happened?" Amara whispered, though some part of her already knew. "You had an accident at home," the nurse replied carefully. "Your husband brought you." "Accident." The word skimmed the surface of the truth like a stone over water, too scared to sink. A man in a crisp shirt and glasses entered. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Okafor. I'm Dr. Salami. How are you feeling?" "Pain," she whispered. "Everywhere." He nodded sympathetically. "You have 2 fractured ribs and a mild concussion. But you'll recover." Her eyes filled. He said it was an accident." The doctor hesitated. Then he said quietly, "Is that what you say it was?" Her chest tightened. A storm rose inside her. Fear, shame, anger, disbelief. But louder than all of them was another voice, familiar and stubborn. "I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini." She swallowed. "Yes," she croaked. "It was an accident." But the doctor's eyes didn't believe her. And neither deep down did she. She met the therapist 3 days later. Her name was Dr. Halima Bello. She was in her 40s, with kind eyes and a soft scarf wrapped neatly around her head. The hospital had recommended a counseling session before discharge. Just to help with the trauma of the accident, they'd said. Chikwudi agreed immediately. Yes, help her," he said, squeezing Amara's hand a little too tightly. She's been very emotional. He left them alone in the small consultation room, after insisting on kissing Amara on the forehead, his mask firmly in place. When the door closed, Dr. Halima sat, crossed her legs and studied Amara for a moment. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Fine," Amara lied. "Just tired." "That makes sense," the therapist said. "You've been through a lot, physically and emotionally." Amara forced a smile. "It was just an accident." Dr. Halima murmured. "Did you come up with that word yourself, or did someone give it to you?" The question landed like a stone in Amara's stomach. She shifted. "What do you mean?" "I mean," the therapist said gently, "tell me what you remember, not what anyone else called it." For the first time since she woke up in the hospital, someone was asking her for her version of the story, not the edited script she'd been repeating. Her throat tightened. Words rose tangled. I made him angry," she began. "That's not what I asked," Dr. Halima said softly. "I asked what you remember." Amara stared at her hands. They trembled. "We argued," she whispered. "He hit me. Many times. Fell. My head hit something. There was blood." The therapist nodded slowly. "So, this wasn't an accident. This was violence." Tears spilled before Amara could stop them. "I don't know," she choked. "He said he was sorry. He always says he's sorry. He buys me things. He takes care of me. Without him I'm nothing. I can't." "Pause," Dr. Halima said, holding up a hand. "Let's go back. You said, 'Without him I'm nothing.' Who told you that first? Him? Or someone else, long before him?" Amara blinked through tears. Memories flickered, her mother joking about marrying rich, her uncle dismissing her ambitions, friends saying, "Your own is just to be fine and catch a big fish." "Everyone," she whispered. "Since I was small." "And what did you ever want for yourself?" the therapist asked. "I don't know," Amara said helplessly. "I never thought about it deeply. I just imagined a soft life. No suffering. I thought the only way was to marry a rich man." "So you outsourced your future to the idea of a man," Dr. Halima said. "Any man as long as he was rich." Amara flinched. "I loved him," she protested weakly. "I'm not saying you didn't," the therapist replied gently. "But I am saying, it sounds like you loved what he represented even more. Security, status, escape." The words hit like cold water. Amara had never dared think it so plainly. But hearing it said out loud, it sounded uncomfortably true. She whispered, "I always said I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than work for a day." "How's that going for you?" the therapist asked quietly. Silence stretched between them. Amara saw images, her bruised face in the mirror, the fear when she heard his car in the driveway, the way she flinched whenever he raised his voice. She pictured herself sitting in the passenger seat of one of his fancy cars, sunglasses on, lipstick perfect, heart racing with anxiety. "It's not what I thought," she said finally. "What did you think wealth was?" the therapist asked. "Freedom," Amara said immediately. "Peace. Not worrying." "And do you feel free?" Dr. Halima asked. "Do you feel peaceful?" Amara's voice broke. "No." They sat with that for a moment. "You know," the therapist said gently, "rich people also cry. But real wealth is when you are not crying because of the person who claims to love you." Amara swallowed a sob. "But if I leave?" The words were trembling, fragile. "What will I do? Have no job, no business. I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to make money. I'll be suffering." "Who told you that you can't earn your own money?" the therapist asked. Amara opened her mouth, then closed it. She couldn't trace the origin. Felt like something that had always been there, like the color of the sky. "I'm just not that type," she muttered. "I'm not strong. I'm not like those women who hustle. I'm just beautiful. And who benefits from you believing that?" Dr. Halima asked quietly. The question stunned her. Who benefited? Men like her uncle, who wanted an easy answer for her future. Society, which preferred pretty girls to be dependent and controllable. And now, most of all, her husband, who could say, "Without me you are nothing," and have her believe it. Tears slid down her cheeks, hot and bitter. "Amara," the therapist said softly, "you survived a man's fists. You managed a whole household, emotions, expectations, your own fear. Do you know how much strength that takes? Don't ever again say you're not strong. You just haven't been using that strength for yourself." A small flame flickered inside her. "But where do I even start?" she whispered. "If I leave, what next? I can't go back to depending on relatives. I can't." "You start by deciding you deserve to be safe," Dr. Halima replied. "Then we take it step by step. You don't have to build Rome in a day. Maybe you learn a skill. Maybe you use your sense of style to start something small. Styling clients, running an online boutique, personal shopping. You already worked in fashion. That's experience." Amara blinked. She hadn't thought of it that way. "You could also go back to school later if you want," the therapist continued. "Or take online courses. There are options. But none of them are possible if you're dead." The word hung in the air. She saw herself lying on cold tiles, blood pooling under her head. No one there to help. She saw headlines. "Billionaire's wife found dead in home." She saw people whispering, "At least she enjoyed life while it lasted." Was that all she was worth? A pretty cautionary tale. "I'm scared," Amara admitted. "Of course," said the therapist. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing differently in spite of it. You can choose yourself, Amara." The session ran longer than scheduled. By the end, Amara wasn't magically healed. But something had shifted. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future where her worth didn't come from a man's wallet, where her value wasn't measured by the car she cried in, where she wasn't being hit for existing. In the weeks that followed, she pretended nothing had changed. On the surface, she was the same Amara, smiling when people complimented her ring, posting carefully curated photos from old vacations, standing quietly beside her husband at events. But beneath the surface, she was planning. She spoke to the therapist again, this time in secret. They connected her to a support organization that helped abused women. She opened a small bank account in her own name. She contacted a cousin she trusted, who lived in another city, and said, "If I come to stay with you for a while, will you take me in?" The cousin didn't ask many questions. She just said, "Yes, anytime." One afternoon, when her husband traveled for a business trip, she stood in their massive walk-in closet, surrounded by silk and designer shoes, and realized she felt nothing for any of it. "These things don't hug me," she whispered. "They don't protect me. They don't respect me." She packed one suitcase. Only essentials, nothing that would slow her down. A few clothes, important documents, some jewelry she could sell later if she had to. Her hands shook, but they did not stop. Before she left, she stood in the doorway of the bedroom where so much fear had lived. For a second, the old voice tried one last time. "You're walking away from all this. From wealth. From comfort. Are you sure?" Another voice rose to answer, louder now. "If it comes with broken bones and broken spirit, it's not comfort. It's prison," she whispered. "I would rather sweat in peace than cry in a Lamborghini." Then she walked out. Leaving didn't magically fix everything. At her cousin's place, she cried often, this time from grief, confusion, and the strange emptiness of starting from zero. Money was tight. The future was foggy. But every day she woke up without fear of being hit again. She began a small online styling service, helping women choose outfits for events, using nothing but her phone and a cheap ring light. First, her prices were low. But word spread. People liked her eye for detail, her patience, her warmth. "You should start selling pieces too," one client said. "Your taste is really good." So she did. She partnered with a wholesaler, carefully choosing clothes that matched her brand. She created a page, posted consistently, experimented with reels and short videos where she talked about confidence and style, this time without pretending her own life was perfect. Slowly, orders trickled in. Then they grew. She wasn't a billionaire. Not even close. But for the first time, money came from her effort. Every alert felt like a little vote of confidence, a whisper saying, "See? You can." Months later, sitting in a modest but cozy apartment she rented with her own money, Amara looked around. There was no marble floor. No chandelier. No Lamborghini outside. Just a small sofa, a sturdy table, and a laptop filled with plans. She smiled. Her therapist's words came back. Real wealth is when you are not crying because of the person who claims to love you. One day she knew she might love again. But if she did, it would not be because she was hungry, desperate, or convinced she couldn't survive alone. It would be a choice, not a transaction. Her phone buzzed. A new message. "Hi Amara, I saw your page from a friend's story. I love your style. Please, can you help me put together looks for my birthday photo shoot?" Her fingers flew over the keyboard. "Of course, I'd be happy to. Tell me about the kind of woman you want to feel like in those photos." As she waited for the reply, she caught her reflection in the dark screen of the TV. Still beautiful. But now there was something new in her eyes. Something that had nothing to do with money or men or cars. It was the quiet glow of a woman who had finally realized. She was her own source of livelihood. She was her own rescue. She had always been enough. Long before the billionaire, long before the bruises, long before the Lamborghini. She just needed to choose herself. And now every day she did. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Share this video with someone who might love it too. And as always, stay safe, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.